Mr. C?
Famous in Japan, yet little known in the West, Snatcher, alongside the original Metal Gear, was the game that revealed Hideo Kojima's writing genius and truly launched his career as a game designer. Set in a dark cyberpunk future, let's dive into the world of Snatcher from its creation to its full story. After the success of Metal Gear, released in 1987 on the MSX in Japan, a young rookie at Konami named Hideo Kojima decided that his next project would be a point-and-click adventure game inspired by the Portopia serial murder case, a title he often played during his student years. He chose the visual novel format because he was convinced it would let him fully focus on storytelling and cinematic direction this time. Drawing inspiration from Invasion of the Body Snatchers, Blade Runner, The Terminator, Wicked City, and Akira, Hideo Kojima came up with the idea for his next project during the summer of '87, a game he first called Junker. Tomiharu Kinoshita, a young artist at Konami, was the one who brought Kojima's vision to life through his sketches. With a small team of artists and developers by his side, Kojima took his time shaping the story of Snatcher. First written in 6 acts, it was later condensed to 2, then expanded to 3 with the release of a director's cut on the PC Engine. It wasn't until over a year later, on November 26, 1988, that Snatcher was released, first for the PC-88 and MSX2, and later for the Saturn and PlayStation. It wouldn't be available outside of Japan until 1994, when an English version was released for the Sega CD. The story of Snatcher takes place at the end of the 20th century during the Cold War. The USSR, unwilling to yield to the West, secretly develops a biological weapon known as Lucifer Alpha in the town of Chernaton. On June 6, 1996, the weapon is released into the atmosphere, resulting in the death of half the world's population. The contaminated area remains uninhabitable for a decade until Lucifer Alpha mutates into a non-lethal form. This tragic event later comes to be known as the catastrophe. 50 years later, it's December 2047 in Neo-Kobe City, a futuristic Japanese megacity located on an artificial island. In addition to the city's record-high crime rate, a new and growing threat emerges: the Snatchers. These human-like androids, whose origins are unknown, are slowly infiltrating Neo-Kobe, killing their victims to assume their identities and blend into society by copying their appearance. In this cyberpunk city, Gillian Seed, a 31-year-old man suffering from amnesia, is struggling to piece together the fragments of his past. Recently divorced from his wife Jamie, who lost her memory at the same time, Gillian is haunted by only one word from his past: Snatcher. Convinced that his fate is tied to these mysterious beings, he joins Junker, a special police unit dedicated to hunting down Snatchers.
I'm Gillian Seed. I've been assigned to Junker headquarters effective today.
After proving himself in the US military, Gillian joins the Junker. On his first day at the organization's HQ, he meets his colleagues and his superior, Benson Cunningham. He is also issued his badge, a blaster, and a navigator robot named Metal Gear Mac 2.
Metal Gear.
That's right. Just like Rex.
Things take a serious turn when Gillian receives an urgent call from Gibson, another Junker member who claims to have cornered 2 potential Snatchers in an abandoned factory. Upon arriving, Gillian stumbles upon the dead body of Gibson.
Dear God.
He barely manages to escape the factory before it explodes from a bomb planted by the fugitives. Back at HQ, Gillian wastes no time and heads to Gibson's home to inform his daughter, Katrina, of her father's death.
I'm very sorry, Katrina. It's my fault your father's dead.
Gillian,
Once there, he comes across Gibson's notes, revealing that the Snatchers cannot withstand sunlight as ultraviolet rays are harmful to their artificial skin. As a result, they are forced to use sunscreen even in winter. Following the advice of Napoleon, Gibson's informant, Gillian, heads to a nightclub in Neo-Kobe City called Outer Heaven. There, he gathers the description of a man Gibson had been tracking before his death, which leads him to two individuals, Ivan Rodriguez and Freddie Nielsen.
All right, buddy, time to wake up.
Whoa, man, don't shoot!
As Rodriguez turns out to be just a drug dealer, Gillian visits Nielsen's home, where he is greeted by his wife, Lisa.
Huh? A woman?
In their bathroom, he finds a bottle of sunscreen, confirming his suspicions about Freddy's true nature. Just as he makes this discovery, Lisa suddenly attacks him, revealing herself to be a Snatcher as well.
Jeez, those things don't go down easy.
Gillian shoots her in the head, but Freddy then appears and assaults him. Gillian is saved at the last moment by a bounty hunter named Random Hajil, who had been secretly following him during his investigation.
I owe you one, Random. Yeah, I'll get it out of you later. See ya, Junker boy.
At the office, Gillian and Junker engineer Harry Benson are analyzing the evidence gathered at Gibson's place when they find out that the Snatchers may be treating their artificial skin at a hospital called Olean Hospital, though its location is unknown.
Gillian, it's the emergency line from HQ.
Gillian, I'm glad I got you. I got a call from Katrina. She said she has something she needs to give you.
During his investigation, the detective receives an urgent call from the agency. Gibson's house has been attacked. Upon arriving, Gillian learns that Katrina is missing.
It's Alice!
The dog is dead. Body temperature suggests it was killed about 10 minutes ago. No doubt the work of Snatchers.
Fearing the worst, he searches the city until he finds her hiding in his own apartment.
Whoa!
You pervert! Get out of here!
The young woman, who had managed to escape in time, gives Gillian another clue left by her father, a list of illegal hospitals in Neo-Kobe City. With the help of Metal Gear, Gillian eventually tracks down a hospital called Queen's Hospital and decides to head there. The place turns out to be an abandoned hospital, but Metal Gear discovers a file written in Chinese.
What? What is this? It looks like Chinese or something.
With Napoleon's help decoding it, Gillian learns that it contains the chemical symbols for beryllium, nitrogen, sulfur, and oxygen, spelling out the word Benson.
And another N makes Benson. The name Benson was encoded on this file.
Suspecting either Junker Chief Benson Cunningham or Engineer Harry Benson of being Snatchers, Gillian orders Metal Gear to cut all transmissions to HQ. When he returns, he finds that both men are gone. Soon after, Gillian receives a call from his ex-wife Jamie, who has just uncovered that Queen's Hospital hides a secret basement. On his way to the hospital, Gillian loses control of his car as the gas pedal is jammed, but is saved once again by Random, who had been following him all along.
Don't bury me so fast, I'm right here!
Together, they finally reach the hospital and begin searching its basement, eventually reaching the morgue.
Good God!
I read 4 human skeletons in this room.
That's where they stumble upon the skeletons of Freddie and Lisa Nielsen, the hospital director, and Benson Cunningham. Gillian's suspicions are confirmed. Cunningham had indeed been snatched.
It's the Chief! What? The Chief is a Snatcher!
Judging from the condition of the body, I would estimate that the snatching took place approximately 1 month ago.
Damn! Harry and Mika are in danger! Get them!
At that moment, 5 Snatchers, including the one who had taken the hospital director's place, attack Gillian, Random, and Metal Gear Mac 2, wounding both men. Realizing there's no other way out, Random, who was carrying an explosive belt, sacrifices himself by detonating it to destroy the Snatchers, giving Gillian a chance to escape through the abandoned subway tunnels beneath Neo-Kobe City.
This is part of the tube liner, the city's long-abandoned subway system.
After leaving the subway, Gillian decides to return to the Junker headquarters where he finds receptionist Mika and engineer Harry, both injured by the Snatcher replacing Cunningham. Unlike Mika, Harry's injuries are too severe and the engineer dies in Gillian's arms.
Gillian, you've got to believe in yourself. You're the last Junker.
Harry! Harry!
Pulse 0. Pupils are dilated.
Vowing to avenge Harry no matter what, Gillian chases the Snatcher until he finally confronts him while he holds Mika hostage.
I'm right here.
In a fierce shootout, Gillian takes down the fake Cunningham. Moments later, Jamie calls to tell him that she's regained her memory just before a Snatcher appears behind her, warning the detective that his ex-wife is being held captive by his kind in their base.
We have Professor Lorraine. So for now, I suggest you avoid doing anything foolish, Professor Seed.
Time is running out. Neo Kobe City is under threat from a nuclear strike meant to wipe out the Snatchers, but Gillian still struggles to solve the case and recover his memories. That's when Metal Gear Mac 2 reveals confidential information about him. It turns out that Gillian and Jamie are actually American citizens born in the 1960s. 3 years ago, in 2044, Siberian soldiers discovered them both asleep inside cryogenic pods hidden in an underground bunker near Moscow. No one knows when they were placed there. However, one of the 3 pods found at the time was already empty, with an old photograph of a young Harry Benson next to it. Metal Gear could no longer hide the truth from Gillian.
Harry? Harry was my son? Did he know?
No. It was highly classified information. He was never told.
I was never able to do anything for him.
While the Siberian soldiers were escorting Gillian and his wife to safety, a tragic accident occurred, killing nearly all of them, including one soldier who was a Snatcher. After being revived and placed under US military supervision, Gillian eventually decided to enlist in the US Army. After these shocking revelations, Gillian regains his composure and reviews all the evidence gathered so far. Step by step, he manages to pinpoint the Snatcher's hideout in Neo Kobe, which is beneath the basement of an abandoned church. Once there, Gillian uncovers a vast underground facility where the Snatchers turn themselves into human replicas.
Get a load of this! The US President, the Prime Ministers of Japan, and the UK!
Gillian, you're in here too!
Venturing deeper into the base, he finally finds Jamie, who tells him she was forced to work for the Snatchers because their creator, Professor Petrovich Madnar, was dying. The Snatcher's plan is finally revealed. In 1984, the USSR was on the brink of collapse when the Kremlin launched the Snatcher project, aiming to replace world leaders with androids to control the world. To create these machines, the USSR hired the brightest scientists, including Professor Madnar, his son Elijah, Gillian, and Jamie. However, what no one knew was that Gillian was actually a CIA agent who had infiltrated Professor Madnar's team to sabotage Project Snatcher from within.
Why don't you let me finish your little story?
Who's there?
It's been a while, hasn't it, Jamie? Ah, yes. And Gillian.
The truth now revealed, Elijah Madnar appears before Gillian and Jamie. He explains that due to the crisis the USSR was facing at the time, the Snatcher project was cancelled. However, Elijah wanted to complete the project at all costs, and on June 6, 1996, he blew the laboratory where Lucifer Alpha was being developed, triggering the catastrophe. He then went into cryogenic sleep with Gillian and Jamie. He woke up 10 years later in 2006 as he had planned, and set Gillian and Jamie's machines to an infinite cycle. Over the next 40 years, Elijah completed the Snatcher project and chose Neo Kobe City as the testing ground for his androids. But with their skin issue, Elijah had no choice but to force his father to find a solution. Unfortunately, his father was dying, and so Elijah abducted Jamie to finish the job. The mystery surrounding Random, or rather what's left of him, is then revealed. Random is actually an enhanced Snatcher, created by Elijah's father using the appearance and memories of his own son, and programmed to destroy all other Snatchers. This is why his surname Hajil turns into Elijah when spelled backwards. Elijah plans to use Random's perfect artificial skin to improve the bodies of his Snatchers. To stop him, Metal Gear Mac 2 appears, and Random, who was faking his death, suddenly reactivates.
What? How did... You're supposed to be deactivated.
I don't go down that easy, old man.
The bounty hunter holds Elijah back while Gillian and Jamie escape, and Metal Gear directs an orbital weapon onto the Snatcher's base to destroy it.
Sorry to get you involved in such a big job. You did great.
3,
You're a
2,
hell of a junker.
1, here it comes!
Later, kid!
With Neo Kobe City now free of the Snatchers, Gillian and Jamie, having regained their memories, finally decide to be together again.
So you're really going, aren't you?
It's our responsibility, too. Besides, if I go to Moscow, I may get some of my memory back. And if that happens, I'll be able to love you even more than I do now.
However, Gillian still has one last thing to do before handing over his badge. He must go back to Siberia to destroy everything remaining from the Snatcher Project research.
Hurry up and get on board, partner.
Yes, sir!
And that's it for Snatcher, Hideo Kojima's first truly story-driven game that made a lasting impression in Japan but remained largely under the radar in the West, due in part to graphics and gameplay that felt a bit dated by the time it was released overseas, and also because it was only available in English. Still, Snatcher remains a classic Kojima story that fans have come to expect from his games. Thank you for watching this video all the way through. See ya, Junker Boy!